So I want to ask you one more thing, that you had a very interesting experience in Brazil with the fact that you really got to see and participate in office culture in Brazil, which in general is something I don't have much experience with apart from like Alexia's former companies. So could you tell me just what were your first impressions and insights about office culture in Brazil versus the US? Did anything stand out to you?
So I guess first of all, when I arrived at the building, I had to have my fingerprints taken, which was kind of weird. So just
Yeah.
to get into the building, like, and to get in through like the turnstile things, I had to like put in my fingerprints. So the security of the office buildings seem a lot more strict. But once I got into the office and kind of did the tour, I noticed that, so in the United States, in my office, we have cubicles, and each person has one cubicle, and it has, the walls are pretty high. So you have, it's like your own private space.
Yeah.
But when I went there, it's like you had like four people sitting in a cubicle, and there were really low walls. So like the next person was literally within arm's reach, and you could make eye contact with them. And that was kind of weird because like I'm, trying to do work, and then you awkwardly make eye contact with the other person next to you. And so like everybody's sitting much closer together and in a much more, I guess, collaborative workspace. And then the other thing that I noticed was it was really, really noisy. And like to the point where I almost couldn't have a conference call on my computer because like it was picking up all of the sounds. Like anyone that talks close to my computer, everybody can hear it on the other line. And so it was kind of frustrating because like I would have to constantly like I'd talk and then like go on mute and then talk and go on mute. And so it's constantly hitting the mute unmute button because it was just like so noisy that I could barely even hear the conversation that that was happening on the call. But I think everyone just seemed more talkative and friendly versus like where I work, it's quiet. Like it's always quiet. If you need to take a call or you really need to talk, then you go into a conference room and you have the conversation away. But in general, it's pretty much always quiet in the offices here. And then the last thing I noticed was like the size of the kitchen was tiny. It was like the size of a closet. And it really just had like a mini fridge, it had a water filter, and it had an espresso machine. And like there was just room for one person to stand.
Right.
Versus here, I feel like the kitchen is really the only communal social area of offices,
Right.
of like a typical office. Like they talk about like water cooler talk because the water cooler is like in the kitchen, and that's like a common gathering area and an area that's where it's kind of socially appropriate to have a conversation.
Right.
So there, like everybody's talking all over the office, like no one hangs out in the kitchen. And I also realized too that in Brazil, everybody goes out to eat for lunch. And I think that it's something where like the company is responsible for paying for lunch or something like that. Everybody paid with a certain card.
Right. You have your I already forgot this word last time. Your pago refeição, something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so everybody uses this card, and so everybody's kind of encouraged to go out and eat and socialize. Because like when I was there, I thought, oh, everybody's, we're all going out to eat because I'm in town, and then the next day I realized like, oh, this is just something they do,
They do
versus
this every day.
yeah, and here like in my office, because I'm trying to save money, obviously, so I could have more money for traveling. So I will meal prep on Sunday. And so I have like a whole week's worth of meals, made. And so typically my lunch is kind of sad by comparison because I'll like go to the kitchen, I'll heat it up, kind of make small talk with whoever else is heating up their lunch. And then I go back to my desk and I'll eat my lunch and read emails. Like it's pretty antisocial. And like sometimes I'll go out to eat with coworkers. But for the most part, like I eat like alone at my desk, which is like really depressing saying that out loud. But I think
That's what most Americans do.
and it's what we do. And I think just as a culture, we're less social, which probably factors into, other mental health aspects of it. But in Brazil, I noticed, everybody talks in the office and is kind of joking around and having conversations and is going out to eat. And as an office culture, I felt like it seemed just a lot happier and a lot more relaxed.
Yeah. I think that is really representative of like the office culture can kind of be a microcosm of the greater society at large. Brazilians are super social. They are social animals. They love to talk. They love to hang out. They love to go out to eat. They're definitely not going to pack a lunch most of the time. And in the US, I'm the same way. Like when I'm working, I do not want to be like, I don't want to have someone looking at me when I'm working. That's super uncomfortable for me.
Yeah, yeah. And I think like here, because our time, we're billed by our time. So every time that I spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes talking to someone in the office, I think in my head, okay, well, that's another 20, 30 minutes that I'm going to have to work later.
Right.
And so I think the way that we work, it almost discourages that type of socialization, even though, it's a really important part to feeling like you're a part of the team and to feeling happy and fulfilled in your job. So it's definitely something that I need to remember to do more often, even if it's just taking my pre-made lunch and going out to eat outside with some coworkers instead of just eating at my desk kind of a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's definitely a healthy balance in between crazy Brazilian office culture and very isolated, kind of sad American office culture.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Yeah. So, Amanda, I know you are super busy. You have been so generous with your time. I know that a lot of our listeners will relate to your story learning Portuguese with their own learning English. And you will always blow everyone's mind talking about water and how we need to think about that more. Is there anything that you would like to leave our listeners with? Any, I don't know, words of wisdom? Anything we can do to save the world?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I have any words of wisdom. I think just to educate yourself about how like what's your impact on the world, and then just to try and have a smaller impact. If it means giving up meat, one meal a week or one day a week, even those kind of long-term small changes that you can make can have really long-term significant impacts. And try taking public transit, or try reducing your Brazil, I think in general has less of a dependence on cars. It's not as much of a car culture, but and just kind of like understand ways that you can live smaller and impact the world a little bit less.
Yeah, at the very least, find out where your water comes from. I
At the
think that's a
very
great
least,
place to start.
yeah, I think that's a good place to start, and hopefully that'll spark your interest to do some further investigations.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Amanda. I would love to have you back on the show and talk more deeply about water and all of the fascinating things you have to talk about sometime
Yeah,
soon.
yeah, definitely. And I mean, if I'm always open to having new language partners, and so if there's anyone out there that's interested in talking, kind of about civil engineering or more career specific stuff, I'd definitely be open to that. So let me know.
Yes, we will not send out your email because you will get hundreds of emails. But if you're interested in doing a language exchange with Amanda, email us at English no Cru so Alexia can set that up for you.
Yeah, I'll let you guys filter out who it is.
Yeah, cool. So thank you so much, Amanda. I will talk to you soon.
Thanks. Bye.